a very mean Lee Sin, but looks like they're just reserving that for later. But never mind, SBTC just basically snatches that away. And now Team Secret can opt for a Varus Nami lane, which is going to be incredibly oppressive. Depending on SBTC, maybe they lock in the Kai'Sa once more. Maybe they pick up a safe lane, like a Corki perhaps, so that Akino can roam around the map. Because remember, back in League PC, Lee Sin and Thresh are one of the deadliest early game roam duo, and especially Wild Rift as well. It definitely counts.
Yeah, Riku, it's like going to the market with your family, your mom especially. She's gonna go up there and she's gonna be like, yeah, we gotta grab this first, gotta grab that first, before anybody else can get to it. That's SBTC right now. They get the Thresh, they get the Lee Sin, exactly what they're looking for. Team Secret, they're gonna run it back. They're gonna play for the same idea they played before. And SBTC say, well, you have Yasuo, that's no stress to us. We don't worry about that. You wanna go for Yasuo comp? Go for it. Team Secret, perfect Yasuo comp lined up for them right now. The question is, are they still gonna try and insist on this? The answer is, well, likely no.
Ooh, I like this a little bit more because remember, we talked about this before, the dynamic. First two games definitely was playing around Tatsuri, but with the Orianna now, that means Tatsuri can focus the shields, the movement speed towards Azar, especially when he's unlocked, when he gets the early lead. And if Azar gets the early lead much sooner in comparison to the first two games that we just saw, then he can create impact, he can mitigate the gold lead that SBTC has garnered for the past two games.
Yeah, and I do have to bring up, you know, we had this sort of like trend in the Summer Super Cup for Team Secret. There was, you know, like the Olaf that we kind of like put as the harbinger of death into the playoffs. They kept picking it. That seems to be the case for this Vi. But we're gonna have to jump into Game 3. And then, you know, in their post-game, maybe we'll talk about that. I just want to see this Game 3 first as we head into what could be the final game of this series should SBTC Esports take it. But it could also be the start of a comeback for Team Secret. Casters, over to you guys.
TJ, yell it with me right now. It's match point, baby! And now SBTC Esports just need to lock in their game against Team Secret. And we're looking at Team Secret going in for the Vi once more.
Country, you gotta tell me what I'm gonna yell. We gotta set that ahead of time.
Yeah, I should have actually done that much earlier on.
You just said yell it with me, and I was like, eh! And that wasn't what we were doing.
Okay, well, I guess we can continue on with what's about to come here. Unero now getting ignited very early on.
Yeah.
Well, this exchange here is going to be pretty bad for Unero. Meanwhile, bottom side does have select skirmishes, so Riven now will be pretty late into his lane, losing a huge ton of minion wave.
SBTC coming into this, of course, as one of the expected favorites in this tournament. Personally, I think they're the best team in the world. And they have been challenged a number of times over this series. But I must say, this is just about the perfect SBTC draft, Contra. This is like everything they want. They get TF on his Lee Sin, they get Julie on his Ahri, and they get Kira on his Kai'Sa. So basically every lane where they could get a power pick, a pick that those players are comfortable on, they've gotten it. And critically, with the Ahri, Lee Sin, Kai'Sa, they have a ton of early game power. So look for the same story we've seen the last couple of games to play out again, where SBTC are going to try and dominate the early game and shut things down. Team Secret are going to try and last until the late game when their Varus, when their Orianna will come online and they can take some killer team fights.
That's right. So much pressure now building down into the bottom lane, forcing them to back away. Meanwhile, Azar is dropping down low. He does not have any more honey fruits to work with, and that's a huge wave crashing in. Perhaps a little bit of help coming from Trevor will be able to get a little bit more room. But SBTC, like you said, this draft is something that's so familiar to them that they could just play this like clockwork, and you're only looking at TF going for those invades.
Yeah, starting off with the invades, and then we're also going to have to pay attention here to the pace of play around the Vi, because I've been very critical of Trevor. I've flat out said to you that I think that he's very much underperforming on this Vi. He's... Oh, Hamas.
Oh.
Good escape. He's been caught out. Trevor's been caught out a number of times in the late game, and he's not really...
Runero? Okay.
It's fine. Yeah. It's Vi. It doesn't do anything. A number of times Trevor's been caught out in late game team fights, and that's pretty much decided games like that. If you go back to the two games that Team Secret have lost, and you go back to the fights where Team Secret lost them. Both times it was Trevor getting caught out. So that needs to get cleaned up. And also, like we just saw, you're playing Vi. You don't really do anything during the early game. So I need to see him going above and beyond to achieve something for the team.
Speaking of the devil right here, immediately Assault and Battery will be able to secure one for Team Secret while the dive will connect.
Carol!
And Carol still finding a lot of damage on top
He's
of
out.
Chewie. And he gets out with Perfect Lantern, but here comes Tatsuri as well, coming over the flash. And immediately connects with the hook as well. Aquino diffuses this moment, and SBTC got more than what they bargained for.
Aquino is having the series of his life. What a set for him now. Coming in on this Malphite during game 1, dominating. Coming in game 2 on the Thresh. How many hooks did he land that determined the game? Coming here in game 3, he single-handedly escorts Carol out from behind the tier 1 turret in order to get SBTC away with a kill advantage in that bot lane trade.
I guess how they really want to navigate in some of these team fights, now that James is on the Rakan, it does not necessarily have to be Trevor here to make the first move. So perhaps from that standpoint, Trevor will not be caught just as much as compared to the past previous games. And SBTC, having the high priority on Drake once again, will be able to take it down very quickly. But Team Secret, they're not starting on the Herald just about yet. They are looking for a pick against Yunero as he gets zoned out.
This is where Team Secret got caught the last 2 games, as they try and go even for this early trade, and SBTC fight them with an early game composition. Here we go.
Immediately comes out, tries to land those charm, and TF will be able to move right in with a kick. Team Secret will still secure the Herald, and that's all that they could actually get out of this. And
Very
TF
well
almost
done.
dropped.
Very well done by Team Secret.
And that's one shockwave onto Julie as well. And look at the damage output. Killer Instinct comes out of this Kaisa. And they need one more tap to do the trick. Well, James will be the one that falls. Another time connects. SBTC, they're doing it. But Trevor wants to clean up. Well, Aquino will not have all too much remaining. And that's just about it. Team Secret at least walked away with a few more kills. But SBTC looking hot on form.
Wow. Team Secret keep that trading even throughout an absolute mess, and they get the Rift Herald. This is a win for Team Secret. SBTC, always a team that's willing to go more aggressive, that's willing to step in and go for another fight. So it has to be really good for Team Secret to be able to match that. And we see performance there from Trevor. We see performance there from James. James bailing out Tatsuri when he overextends. That's huge. That saves the day. And Trevor comes in for the revenge once Chewie dies. That's equally massive. Really good performance from the Team Secret support and jungle.
And it's so vital for SBTC to be able to get those vital picks. Now you just look at itemization. Chewie's barely got any full items being established. Still stacking on those tiers, and now onto Azar will be cutting him off with Julie.
He's so good!
Spirit Rush, and Julie gets caught out! This is looking pretty bad. Team Secret, they've been able to get one free just by cutting him through.
Contra! That was the nuttiest footwork I've ever seen! Azar just dodged everything! He dodges the Sonic Wave, goes into the bush, and plays back, times his engage perfectly, and survives the charm as well.
My. Now, Rakan has already used everything in. Yes, indeed. Over on that top portion of the map, which what we just saw was a masterclass of how to juke out your enemies coming out of Azar. Now, speaking of Azar, he's up in the mid lane already.
And he does it again, just for style points. Azar, coming off of that last game where he 1v5'd on the Baron pit, took the Baron, killed 4 people, like, he has nothing left to prove. He had a very disappointing game 1 on the Akali, and he's back immediately out after that disappointing loss performance.
Grand entrance, assault battery, and that immediately catches out Aquino. The rest of SBTC will not be able to follow up at all. So that's another great pick. If Team Secret keeps continuing on this pace, I think there is a really good chance that SBTC gets overwhelmed.
This is a really good pace for a late game team, because again, Team Secret do more in the late game. They have a brief tech issue, and we are good to go.
Indeed, and I guess we were on the point where Azar was playing his best game of his life on the past 2 matches out there, just lacking of that firepower in those team fights, and I think that Team Secret might have been able to resolve that.
Yeah, Team Secret have been doing, actually, if you go back to the last series we watched, some of the stuff that EVOS did, where EVOS started playing much more aggressively and Buriram were able to match it. So it reminds me a lot of that series, I suppose Buriram are the Team Secret here, where Buriram are stepping up into EVOS's aggression with a late game composition drafted. They were being able to match EVOS's early game comp. That's really what Team Secret are doing right here. They're stepping up into SBTC despite the fact that SBTC have an early game composition. And here they summon the Rift Herald all the way back there in the top lane. It's going to take a while, but it's going to crash against that top lane. And it's going to force SBTC to pay some attention to it, whilst the rest of the team goes in here for the Dragon fight.
TF is getting ready for a steal right behind the pit. Now he'll be able to blast cone his way over across the middle lane, collapse upon. There's no chance for him to survive. Now the dragon is free for Team Secret to take. The Tar lands on top of Hamas. Ignite being popped, not being able to take him down.
Give me the Rift Herald, Cam. Give me the Rift Herald, Cam. It's about to charge. It's going to take the turret in the top lane.
Oh, there we go.
And look at the path up there as Azar scoots up. Thank you very much, production. As Azar scoots up there, they're going to be able to shove that Rift Herald up maybe even to a second turret. As is, first turret break goes to Team Secret. And I don't believe it, but the team out of the Philippines, the team that had so many questions coming into the group stage, seems to be performing against one of the best teams in the world right now. This is very good pace for Team Secret, and it's hard to see SBTC turning it round now at a deficit with an early game composition.
Nobody really wants to drop down to the lower brackets. I believe that Team Secret will need to take their chances so long as they still have it, and whoever loses will potentially have to face off against some of the biggest teams out there, like the reigning champions, the EVOS ESPORTS, One Team, and many more, right? So Team Secret possibly won't be able to continue on if they could just look for those picks. And I love how they have that delayed Rift Herald in order to set things up for that first turret. Now, heading into a 3K goal lead, they just have to carry on with the same sort of pickoffs so long as they can.
Yeah, the loser of this match plays One Team, who were the runners-up during the Summer Super Cup.
Oh, first thing on top of Azar. He gets the lead. And now Baron getting challenged. The 1 HP left onto Kieran. And
onto the Baron. It was the life steal. That saved his life.
Akito flashes over the wall as well. That's Assault Battery already being expended. Now, SBTC, they tried to force a pick again, but it doesn't look all too clean.
It was the Bladed Rune King lifesteal, and that's why he Cathian Rains the Baron right there. It gives Kirill just like 20 more HP, and it turns out that's exactly what he needs.
Oh, big shot whip coming right through. With the grand entrance, they will secure 2 members of SBTC along with the turret. Beautifully done by Team Secret.
And Kirill doesn't die in the middle of the map, but he has to reset. He has to lose so much map control in order to come back and defend that mid-turret. And during that time, Team Secret set up the wave, they bring it under turret, and they execute. Here's Tatsuri, the performance we've been waiting for. He showed up on Yasuo, but it wasn't enough. He showed up in Game 2 on the Yasuo, but it wasn't enough. Here he is, Game 3. He's got a lead, he's playing Orianna, and he's got a massive advantage into this end game. Watch for Tatsuri's damage, and Shui is just about to complete the Muramana, which will be a huge power spike for him as well. Team Secret, this is their game to lose.
Yeah, you just look at that goal lead right now, 9.2 against 8,000. And if you just look at how he's been playing throughout this entirety of the series, yeah, he might have some flashy plays on the Yasuo in particular. But the problem is when you play a Yasuo, your team has to fully commit so long as you press that last win. Now, even if you whiff a shockwave, it doesn't really matter. You can still have so much more damage control to offer in those team fights, and he remains to be safe in the majority of them.
And this is such a good Orianna composition as well, because The way Orianna works, of course, you see this little ball, and it can attach to your teammates, and it will do the damage for you. That's what the shockwave spawns on, is it spawns on that little ball that's floating above Orianna. So what he's going to do is he's going to attach the ball to Trevor, to Azar, to Hamas. As they dive in, there are so many people that can carry that ball into the team fight and set up for a perfect Orianna ult.
That's true, and now we want to see whether if Team Secret get another perfect setup as they are already on the Infernal Drake. SBTC Esports, they're going for a 4-1 split, having the Riven to push the Baron lane. Well, there's not too much of a spacing being created for SBTC, so they will have to let this one slide to Team Secret.
Yeah, that's huge. Team Secret with such a lead that SBTC can't contest an Infernal Drake, the most important Drake of the game. They do lose a turret up top, but that should be traded. You can see Tatsuri working away down bottom. They're trying to get as much of that gold onto Tatsuri as possible. SBTC, because they see Tatsuri down bottom, want to go for a fight right now.
And they're just going to be landing a little bit of tickle onto Hamas. They slowly cut across into the river. Now Trevor might be able to actually get Aquino here. Catches him off guard. He flashes over the wall. And even with pretty much the charm all being used up, this is where they lock them in with the box and this choke point. Hamas tries to find a little bit more space again. Just look at Julie here. He lands the charm, but it's a little bit too far away. Unero flashes forward. Now this is not going to look all too good for Unero as he immediately gets taken down while Trevor forces a flash from Julie. And Tatsuri over the wall. He goes on a rampage.
A flash execute for Tatsuri. That was absurd. He roams all the way up from the bottom lane where he's taking a turret to get 2 kills in that team fight. And you can see how Team Secret play around it. The entire time that Tatsuri's down bottom, they don't go for a fight. They wait, they wait, they wait. And right when Tatsuri's about to arrive, it's perfectly synced. He shows up, he gets the first kill of the team fight, and he gets the last, and he takes that turret in mid. The gold lead continues to grow for Team Secret's mid laner.
And you just look at this team fight here. It was Aquino right there that was being focused down.
Watch
and
the
even
pull.
though he pulls
Watch
up the ball,
get this. Boom.
Yeah, like,
bringing the ball in all the way from the side of the team fight. And then Julie does get the turn, but he gets the turn into the choke. He kills Hamas and Azar, the 2 players that are meant to be soaking up the damage, and all the damage dealers are still alive. Ooh, look at that flash. And now we've got a Baron fight. Now we've got Team Secret probably not starting the Baron. I don't know how risky they're feeling, but definitely trying to fool SBTC into thinking they are. Because if SBTC go through these narrow choke points into an Orianna Varus, that's such a good composition for playing defense. They're going to dominate any fight where SBTC step into Team Secret.
and you just look at the river completely blind for SBTC. Even if they are attempting the Baron right now, it's too risky of a call for SBTC to make if they lose another team fight. Wow!
What is that?
Did you just see that? A shockwave, the piercing arrow, absolutely took out the trash.
Contra. My eyes are lying to me. That was the sickest team play I've seen all tournament. And it works perfectly. Team Secret get a Baron from it.
Unero right now getting snared with the chain of corruption, and here comes the charm as Hamas is looking for the next prey. Well, Jolie will not be able to survive. Now that's 2 pigs coming over for Team Secret on for Baron.
If Team Secret win here, if they somehow come out on top of this series, they would go the furthest in international competition they have ever gotten. Last time they were knocked out before semifinals, this would take them all the way to the semifinals of the tournament. Here's game number 1. They need 3.
He's going to be buying a little bit more time. Azar now caught under a turret. This is going to be awkward for Team Secret, but they'll still secure the kill. They take out Unero, and here comes the hook and a snipe. Aquino barely surviving, but with the final wave, Team Secret still have their lifeline chance right here, as they won't be able to break that nexus and forces game 4.
And there's one on the board for Team Secret. Contra